What's up, dudes? In this video I'm going to show you how I learned to use Linux, and in my opinion this is one of the best ways to learn Linux because it is a hands-on experience, and it really gamifies all of the whole process that you kind of go through to get your feet wet with the terminal and get really comfortable using it. So what we're going to do is, this is a website that we're going to be using called OverTheWire. So in our Kali machine here, if you don't know how to install the Kali machine, go ahead and check out my other videos. But if you're at this point, go ahead and open up your browser and head on over to OverTheWire.org. Link will be in the description. So once you're at OverTheWire.org, these are war games. So what war games are, if you've never heard of capture the flag games or war games, basically what this is there is a flag hidden somewhere on a computer system, and your job is to find it. And in this case, they actually use the password for the next level as the flag. So you can go ahead and read this if you want to. Basically what it says is it suggests that you start with the Bandit level, which is what we're going to do. So over here on the left you've got all your levels. We're just going to click on Bandit, and it's going to give you a little bit of a wall of text here. I would definitely recommend reading it, but I can sum it up for you here. Basically all it says is that to get to the next level, you have to complete the previous level, and the previous level will give you the password for the next level. All the levels are over here on the left, so you can just progress by clicking on each of them. You will need to use SSH to connect, and if you don't know what that is okay. That's what I'm here for, to teach you. And then it also says that if you don't know something, you can use the manual command or the help command in order to find out more about a command. So we haven't gotten over that yet. I'll go over that now because this is a great resource to help you understand what commands do and learn more about them. So up here, we'll go ahead and open up our terminal. And say we want to know more about the ls command. We learned about the ls command before. It lists the contents of a directory, but what else does it do? What else can we do with it? So if we want to know more, we can type man, which stands for manual, and then the name of the command that we want to know more about. So in this case, ls. So when we type man ls, we can actually see that there's a huge amount of information here, and we can scroll using the arrow keys. So we've got the description of ls, list information about the files, the current directory by default, sort entries alphabetically if none of this string nor sort is specified. So if you scroll down, you can actually see all of the different dash options. So in this case, if you wanted to use one of these, you would do ls space dash c, or ls space dash dash ignore dash backups. And you'll notice that all of these ones that have a single dash are for single letter arguments, is what these are called. So all single letter arguments have one dash, and anything that has words or multiple letters has two dashes. So dash dash ignore backups, dash dash directory, dash dash die red. So keep that in mind, and this is how you use the man command or manual command. There is another way as well to search for help, which will be useful in situations where there isn't a man page for the command that you're searching for. For example, we know the cd command as well. So if we did cd documents, we can change directory into those documents, and that's all it does. cd, change directory, move around within the file system. But if you type in man cd, you will notice that there is no entry for cd. Why is that? Well, cd is a shell command. It is built into the shell itself rather than being a command like ls. So in order to get help for shell commands, we can type help cd, and we actually don't have the help command installed currently, and it actually tells us, it's very nice. It says, you know, if you don't have this thing installed, you can do this. So sudo apt install, deb name means package name. So in this case, we would do sudo apt install help, and then we should be able to help cd once we get that installed. I'm not going to do that right now because that's not the point of this video. You can also Google for it. You know, in this case, I don't want to leave you guys hanging and not show you how to get help on certain commands. So at this point, I would just Google it, unless you do want to try to do the sudo apt get install help. Moving on, let's go ahead and get started with SSH and actually log into these levels. So first off, if you're in a Linux system, SSH is really easy to use. If you are not in a Linux system, if you're in a Windows system, SSH is a little bit more complicated because it's not a built-in command. So you will need to install a external program in order to use SSH. PuTTY is a very good one, PuTTY, and you can find that over here. Just search for PuTTY on Google and it should come up. Yeah, so it's the very first one, putty.org. So you can go ahead and download PuTTY if you are on Windows, and then you will be able to SSH into these levels as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So level 0. The goal of this level is for you to log into the game using SSH. The host to which you need to connect is bandit.labs.overthewire.org on port 2220. The username is bandit0 and the password is bandit0. So it gives you the username and password. Everything here is provided you for level 0. This is just to get you to connect. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So SSH is a built-in command. Also, here's a trick. If you type clear, it'll clear your screen, you know, if you don't want all the nasty clutter and stuff. So SSH, like I said, is a built-in command in Linux. And you can see I've already actually typed this in. So I have the suggestion here, but you won't. So we're going to go through this together. So on the website, it says host you need to connect to is bandit.labs.overthewire.org. So we can go ahead and copy this just like that. And then we can do SSH, and then we can just paste the selection here. Make sure you don't get the comma in there. You don't want the comma. And then the port is 2220. And in order to specify which port we want to connect to, we will need to do a -p and then 2220. SSH uses port 22 by default, so this is a non-standard port, which is why we have to specify it. When we do this, we can go ahead and press enter. And I've connected to this before, so it didn't ask me to verify the certificate. It will ask you to verify the certificate. At that point, you will need to type yes in order to connect, or just Y, and then press enter. Once you do that, you'll get this screen. And if you'll notice, there are two warnings here. It says you're trying to log in into this SSH server on port 2220 with a username that does not match the Bandit game. The reason that it says this, and if we do go and use the provided password of bandit0, it's not going to work. And the reason for this is permission denied, is that we didn't specify the user. So you don't actually specify the user once you connect to the system. You actually do it before in the SSH command. So the way that we are going to do this, we can press Control C, which, if you're familiar with Windows, is normally copy, but in the terminal it actually means to kill the current process. So Control C will boot us back into our shell and get us out of the SSH. And then what we will do in order to connect is we actually need to specify the username first. So Bandit 0, and then we do an @ symbol, and then we can type in our bandit.labs.overthewire.org. And so I'm going to tab complete this because it is, I guess I can't tab complete it. It's just showing me the suggestion. I think it's the up arrow then. No biggie. We'll do it the hard way. So SSH bandit 0 @ and then we'll go ahead and recopy our thing because I can't remember if I copied anything else. And then paste that into there. And then we will do our -p 2220. So now that we've got the username specified, press enter, we will see that we no longer have those errors that we did before. And if we type bandit 0 into our password here and press enter, we have successfully logged into our very first SSH session. This is a big step. Now we are remotely connected to another computer somewhere out in the internet, and we can control it. So what do we do now? There's so much that we could do. We're on a whole nother computer that's a Linux-based system. What do we do? Well, that's why I love OverTheWire so much. It gives you so much explanation and so many tools to succeed in learning the Linux terminal. They provide helpful reading material, as you can see down here. They even give you the commands that you need or that you're likely to need to solve the level. So if you want to know more about Secure Shell or how to use SSH, SSH stands for Secure Shell, in case you were wondering. You can read about them here. So now that we've successfully connected, it says once logged in, go to the level 1 page and find out how to beat level 1. So we're going to click on level 1. It's actually kind of confusing how these levels are set up. It's level 1 is actually level 0 arrow level 1. So this is level 1. It says the password for the next level is stored in a file called readme located in the home directory. Use this password to log in to Bandit 1 using SSH. Whenever you find a password for a level, use SSH on port 2220 to log into that level and continue the game. So we can take the information that we have that they've given us. It's the password for the next level is stored in a file called readme located in the home directory. We learned about the home directory in the last couple videos. We know that the home directory is represented by a tilde, and we also know that typically you're put into the home directory by default when you open up a shell. So let's go ahead and see just what's here. So we're just going to type ls for list directory, and we can actually see that we have a readme file right here. And if you remember from last time, the way that we read a file, and we can actually see that this is indeed a file because the name is green and not blue. But what if you don't have colors turned on? How do you know? Well, if you do ls space -l, the -l option will give you more information about a file. So you can see here that the readme file has read and write permissions. We'll go over permissions in another video, but the important thing here is that it does not have a D, and D stands for directory, so it is not a directory. Further, if we want to get a little bit more information, we can actually just use the file command and then the name of the file that we want to know more about, in this case readme. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we can see that the readme file is ASCII text. So we know it's a text file. We know from last time that we can read a text file by using the cat command. Cat stands for concatenate, which is not terribly important to remember, but that's what it stands for. And we do cat readme, and let's see what happens. So it seems that we have a random string here, and it would also seem that this could potentially be the password for the next level. So let's go ahead and just copy this, and let's make sure we keep track of these. So we're going to go and just open up this basic little text editor here, and we're going to say level 1 should be this password. So we're going to go ahead and just save this, and we will save it under documents. We'll even put it in the please subfolder. So we can go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and name it Bandit Levels. Just press enter. Now we've got Bandit Levels saved in here. And let's go ahead and try the password and see if it works. So this is the password for level 1. We're currently logged into Bandit 0. So we need to log out of Bandit 0 and log back into Bandit 1. So how we're going to do that is we are going to Control C to close the so Control C, actually, that's my fault. Control C doesn't actually kick you back out of the SSH session once you are logged in. You can use Control C in the login screen if you don't want to log into it, and it'll kick you out. But once you're in, you can actually use Control C to kill processes within the SSH environment. So how do we leave? Like, what do we do? Well, there should be a command, and there is, called exit. And you can see it says log out, connection to bandit.labs.overthewire.org closed. So exit is the magic word here when you are in an SSH session and logged in. So now we need to log into Bandit 1 and test out that password. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the up arrow now that we are back in our shell. Our shell remembers the commands that we have previously entered. And conveniently for us, all we really need to do here, because it's the same port and the same host, is just change the user that we're logging into. So we're going to go ahead and press the arrow key to go over here to the Bandit 0, backspace the 0, and put a 1 in there, and press enter. So now we're trying to log into Bandit 1, but we don't know the password, or do we? We have our file. I have it copied, but I'll open it up again just so I don't know why I closed it. So here's our password. We're going to go ahead and copy this and paste it. Paste clipboard. And you won't see anything. That's just a security measure taken by Linux, but it is in there, so go ahead and press enter. And here we are. We are successfully logged in to Bandit 1, and we can ls, and we see a weird file that's a dash. That'll be for next time. But we did it. We have successfully used SSH to connect to another computer and learned a little bit about how to concatenate a file, for one. We learned about ls. We didn't really CD at all, but this is a good refresher from some of the previous videos, or if you didn't see the previous videos, this is a good just way to get familiar with some of the very basic Linux commands. And next time we're going to go a little bit deeper with level 2 and maybe even a couple more levels if we get to it. So yeah, go ahead and stay tuned for that, and until next time.